the ghost was actually talking, or if it was just like all in Hamlet's head. If it was in Hamlet's head, then how would Hamlet have like come to the conclusion that Claudius had killed his father if it was supposedly all in his head? Because the ghost, I believe, didn't talk to anyone else, it was just Hamlet.
Oh, I like where you're coming with that question, because I also thought, I was like, well, if this is all in his head, like, I thought I was like on the same mindset as how you were when we were watching the play. But I was also in the same mindset of, if this is all in his head, how come multiple people have already seen the ghost, but nobody just heard him talk? But they've seen the ghost, they just haven't heard him talk. So that's where I was kind of like, obviously it's not just in his head, because multiple people at the beginning have, told him like, hey, we see your dead father, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was taking it more of a, like, heard the ghost speak kind of thing. Like, obviously there is the ghost, because multiple people have seen it, but like more of a hear the ghost speak thing.
I would say, like, why would like Hamlet's father like speak to any random person? Why would he not just speak to his son? That makes sense to me. This is, I guess, information you really want others to know.
But how come he didn't go to his wife?
I don't
His
think
wife
Gertrude
already
even
betrayed
saw
him.
the
She
ghost.
already did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't see him till the very end, right?
I wouldn't say
Gertrude
he
didn't
would
saw
even.
him at all.
I wouldn't even say he would go to his wife, because his wife really isn't the most trustworthy person, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for just a second. Not stop completely, but with Claudius, the ghost, and Gertrude, do you guys think Gertrude had any part in the death of King Hamlet?
I would have said that part of the reason the ghost didn't show up to, or reveal himself to Gertrude, is because she probably might have known or been a part of his death, which is why there was no need for him to show up to Gertrude, since she was a part of it.
Honestly, I don't think she could be part of it. She's kind of like clueless, I guess. Like throughout the movie, you kind of see that. So I don't even think she really could like pull that off, like without like keeping sane, I guess.
I disagree with you saying she's clueless, because I feel like in the end of the play, when like Hamlet and Laertes are all fighting and she like drinks the poison, and like when we watched it, it looked like she almost knew that it was poison and that Claudius was trying to kill Hamlet, so she drank it instead of giving it to Hamlet. So I think if anything, she might have had a like part in the plot to kill the king, because let's be real, if your husband dies, you're not even gonna wait like 6 months to remarry, you're just immediately doing it. I think that like says to me that she had a slight part in it. I don't know how, but like a part nonetheless.
Like, she moved on really fast.
That's why I'd say she's clueless though, because she could drink like that poison stick without knowing. That's why I'd say she's clueless, and it like looked like that throughout the movie.
Well, maybe there was like a way that she tried to hide it some way. Like, she wanted to avoid, I guess, being a big part in that situation.
I feel like this talk about Gertrude kind of connects to one of the questions where it's like, is she a likable character? Because I feel like people are so overcritical about female characters in movies or plays, like literally just because they're female. Because you call her clueless, but how can you call her clueless without calling Hamlet clueless, who had literally accidentally killed somebody? That is, who he didn't even want to kill. But just because he's a man, we're not overcritical about him.
So what ways do y'all think Hamlet and Laertes are similar? I think that Hamlet and Laertes are actually very similar. However, in ways that are different, Hamlet's kind of nature leads to his hesitation, while Laertes acts impulsively, making him less admirable in like some respects.
Yeah, because for Hamlet to take action, it took him a long time, and for Laertes, he was like busting into the tower, like ready to kill somebody. He was more straightforward than Hamlet.
I think that the biggest thing we see in there is they're more into avenge their family members. So I think that's the biggest one, the biggest similarity of the story.
I think they're similar because they're both driven by emotion, which could be clouding their judgment of their like certain decisions. But Hamlet sits on the thoughts like longer than Laertes does because he's more impulsive, where Hamlet just kind of like waits.
I feel like the longer Hamlet waited, like the more he started to spiral. So I feel like with Laertes is kind of just like, wow, I'm upset, I wanna kill this guy. But with Hamlet, he just like sits there and kinda like thinks about it for a while.
So with the comparison between Laertes and Hamlet in terms of action and inaction, what is Shakespeare saying about both action and inaction? Or what is he saying about overt masculinity?
It leads to downfall. Well, I would say it leads to a downfall because sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say. Okay, so I think that overt masculinity can lead to the downfall because of, with Laertes being so quick to act and so hot-headed, and Hamlet being so hot-headed as well, and they're bashing heads, they fight in a grave. Let's be for real. Ophelia is dead, lying in the grave, and they're fighting on top of her. That to me is wild, because if you can't have enough control to like actually be like, oh no, or at least fight outside the grave, not in the grave, that is insane. Like you're messing up with the peace of the dead, you know what I mean? And I think that masculinity and that overt masculinity and that like impulsiveness, as you guys have said, that leads to so much of their downfall. Is, you know, if they would have kept a cool head, or they would have, you know, instead of Laertes and Claudius joining up, if Hamlet and Laertes would have, like, you know, talked and joined up to begin with, the whole situation would have been like, you know, just fixed in a way. But it was that impulsiveness that led them to bashing heads, that led to, instead of just one death, it led to like 5 other deaths.
I agree. I feel like sometimes, like, especially with Laertes and Hamlet, like in the sense of men, like I feel like they're too quick to act. They don't like think about their actions before they do it. And then the only time that they do think about their actions is after they've done it, and then that's when it's too late. Like, well, except for them, I mean they did, so can't really think about it now. But they're just too quick to act. I agree.
Okay, so now that like they're all dead, right? So I'm gonna ask Horatio's question. So considering Horatio is the last one being seen in the play, why do we think Shakespeare chose Horatio to be the last one to be seen in the overall play?
I think that he left him there because I think in the play that he was one of the most loyal ones there, and so that kind of brings back the, I don't know how to say it, but it just shows like the tragedies, the aftermath of tragedies. So like if you disobey someone, kind of like dang, what's it called? There's a word for it, and I cannot.
The fallout?
What?
The fallout?
No, it's like a principle, I guess.
Okay.
It's like, okay, now I'm guessing myself, but it's basically all of them like crossed someone at some point, and Horatio was one of the most loyal ones. Like, so I think he left him there for that reason, because it shows like, oh my god, I'm thinking of that word and I cannot figure it out. Oh my god.
I would say that he was the last person that's shown because like he symbolized like rationality because he was like the only like rational person out of all of them. So I think that's why he was the last one alive, I guess.
I think that like he shows a balanced perspective of all of it because even through like the hard hard situations that they're in, he like has logic and reasoning, and like he stands out against all the other characters' emotions because he's thinking about what's happening instead of just acting off impulse.
I agree. I agree with you. Because by having him sort of all the chaos, Shakespeare left us with someone that had their head straight and knew what was going on after all that drama.
I think it kind of runs back to some of the other stuff like that we did this week. The fact that, because I put on my little character analysis thing that he was lawful good, because he's a good person. He fights for the good side. He's always loyal, trustworthy, and he's for Hamlet. But out of all the people that are on Hamlet's side, he's the only one that doesn't break the law and doesn't go against law. He's kind of, in this sense, throughout the play, he's kind of the guy that's there for Hamlet, and he doesn't break the laws, but he like kind of just helps him. And another thing about Horatio that like I feel like a lot of people don't realize is he's honestly one of the most important people in the entire play, because he's the only reason that we kind of know Hamlet's plans. Because if everyone else is dead except Horatio, who is there to tell the tale of what happened? So he's kind of he's really an underrated character. He's really, really important. It's just he's overlooked because he doesn't do anything crazy. But in reality, he's just following the law.
And then what does that say about what Shakespeare thinks about what society is?
I think I figured out. It's like good things happen to good people. That's the one I was trying to figure out. Maybe. I don't know. It might help my head.
It also shows that Horatio was very confident and strong in his actions throughout the play as well.
What was your point?
So with what you said about Horatio, like as he's the only sane one kind of and everybody else goes crazy or is being dramatic or whatever, what does that say about what Shakespeare thinks of what society then and now is attracted to?
Oh, I feel like that's definitely like chaos. Yeah. Did you just say chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I agree with that.
being active instead of like being inactive. Like them showing their actions proves that they like what they think instead of like not doing anything about it. But he still obviously has thoughts on it. He just didn't act on it.
I think like basically everyone just wants to get too involved. Everyone is quick to fight, quick to accuse, quick to do all this, quick to get involved in drama. But in reality, it's better just to be a good person. And because I mean Horatio is the only one that survives, so obviously he was doing something right. And everyone else was too involved. They were too quick to. But it's almost as if Horatio was just enough involved that he wasn't. If that makes any sense. Because I mean, it's just like in today's world. Like if your friend's going through something, like you can be there for him, but you don't have to get involved. Because if people are just too quick to get involved, and that's what I think Hamlet is trying to say about society, is that we're too quick to get involved in everything, every little thing that goes on.
Could it be possible that Shakespeare spared Horatio because the whole play is almost being told by Horatio, because he's the only one that survived, and Hamlet wanted him